we're working on the rest of the problems, okay? I will let you know exactly when it's due, but it's due this weekend, okay? And I will tell you exactly where you will need to turn it in so that you can get 5 points extra. And I've been doing it with you guys. So there's no excuses that you cannot submit it, okay? And you cannot say that it's hard, right? Because I've been doing it with you guys. All right, so last time you guys already did this number 1, right? Number 1, 2, 3, 4. So you guys are given the table here. And you can see that the table is about the mathematical skills, scores for males and females, right? There are 20 of them, okay, in total. And you guys are given all the numbers already. You guys are given the X values. And then after that, you squared each X value, right? Yeah, so all the numbers on the right here will be the X squared, okay, and so on. And then you can see that at the bottom here, they gave you the sum over here. They gave you the sum of the X values already. So, and the notation for the sum of the X values is this notation here, okay? And with the X, that means that it's the sum of the X. And this notation here means the sum of the X squared, because you add up all the X squared, right? All the X values that you just squared. So it's going to be the sum of the X squared. And we do that the same for the table for females. Okay? Females mathematical skill scores. Okay, we do the same thing. And last time you found the mean already. The mean of the mathematical skill scores for males and females as well, for both of them, right? You can see that. For both cases, okay, the mean. All right, and then after that, you guys found the variance and the standard deviation of the mathematical skill scores of females, okay? And we did it last time already. And using this formula here, using the computational formula, okay? And this is the formula. And you already did it up here. You can see that you just need to plug in the numbers. Plug the numbers into the formula. And that's how you found the standard deviation and the variance. Okay. All right, so now let's continue with number 5. Okay. Number 5, I'm gonna have someone read it out loud for me. So you need to interpret the standard deviation you calculated for females in question 4. The standard deviation that you just found is this one. It's 7.67, okay? All right. So let me know the answer in the chat. How do you interpret that result? Any ideas? Fiona, it's good that you tried. You already given the result right here, the standard deviation, and you just have to interpret it. What does it mean by that? By the standard deviation 7.67. Is it 7.67? Yeah. What does that mean by the standard deviation of 7.67? Any ideas? All right, so just in case, I'm going to give you 2 more seconds to think about it. All right, so it means that females, zoom it in, make sure that you write down mathematical scores, skill, what to say, skills, that's fine, vary from the mean by 7.67 points on average. Okay, that's what it means by the standard deviation in this case. Yeah. All right, go ahead and write down. Or you can think of this as like the average distance of each score to the mean is 7.67. Okay, like you can say that how far is this score away from the mean? Then you would say 7.67 on average. Okay, for each data value, for each score. So it's going to be 7.67 points away from the mean on average. Okay, the distance. Okay. All right. Let's move on to number 6. Number 6. Perhaps one read it out loud for me. How about Nadellen? Can you read it out loud for me? Number 6.
Yes. What is the 68% range of mathematical skill scores for females, and what does this indicate?
All right, thank you. All right, so in this case, you guys have to find the 68 range of mathematical skill scores for females. And what does it indicate? All right, I'm going to give you 1 minute to think about it, and then if you have the answer, then type in the chat for me. Last time Yuri already asked me about this question, right? Uriel, are you there?
Yeah.
All right. Did you try to finish all the problems so far or no? But it's in the email as well. You can also open it from there. All right, one more time, everyone, for this exam 2 sample, I'm gonna have you guys submit it by this weekend. And also if you have all the problems, the work on this sheet, and then you submit it to me, you will get 5 points extra, okay, for extra credit. So make sure that you work on them with me and then submit them by this weekend to get the extra credit as well, okay? And these are very important exams, so make sure that you know how to do them. All right, go ahead and type in the chat for me. I got Brianna's already. Brianna. It's good that you guys try, even if it's not correct. I just need to see you guys trying, okay? How about other people? I got Evelyn's. All right. So just in case you are not sure how to do this, make sure that you pay attention. So number 6, everyone, we are talking about number 6 right here. Number 6, okay? So what is the range? 68%. Yeah, the 68 range. It just means that they're asking about the left value and the value on the left of the mean and the value on the right of the mean of the range of the 68%. Okay, so if you draw the normal distribution, remember that for the empirical rule, we have to use it for the normal distribution. Okay? For other distributions, you cannot use the empirical rule for. So if you draw this is number 6, okay? So if you draw the normal distribution, the space is too small. I need more space, but it's okay. So if you draw the normal distribution, and this is a 68% range, right? That means that over here, and this is the 68% range, okay? Make it a little bit smaller. So 68% is the area of the middle section, okay? All right, so in this case, they're asking you to find the value right here, this value right here, and this value right here, okay? So that would be the range of this 68%. And to do that, first, you need to know the mean, right? And here we are talking about females, is that right? Females. And last time you have to look at the answers of the previous question. Okay, so females mean, that means that you have to look at the number 1 or number 2. So if you look at females, which is right here, you can see that this one is for females, right? And we're looking for the mean, okay? And you found it last time to be 35.3, okay? Is that right? So 35.3. So the mean is 35.3, which is the mean, okay, of females' scores. And what is the standard deviation of females' mathematical scores? Everyone type in the chat for me. I don't think so, Uriel. Type in the chat for me. What is the standard deviation of females, everyone? Female scores that we just found. Type in the chat for me to see if you guys are following me or not. All right, I got Jennifer Merlos. About other people. All right, Glaze also. So it's 7.67. We can write it down and then double check it to see if they got it right, okay? Brittany as well. So if you look at the standard deviation of females, it's in number 5 already, right? We just used it, number 5, which is 7.67, okay? If not, you can also find it in number what? You can see that in number 4 here, okay? For females, and we calculated up here, 7.67, okay? So you have to look at the answers of the previous questions as well, not just the current one. So now, yeah, so that is the standard deviation. So This is the 68% range. That means that you have to go to the left one standard deviation, and you have to go to the right one standard deviation of the mean. So what is the answer right here, everyone? What is the result right here, and what is the number right here? What is the number on the left, and what is the number on the right? I'm going to give you a minute to try it, and then type the answer in the chat for me. You need to try in order for you to do well on the exam, okay? I can't just do everything for you guys. All right, I'm going to give you a minute to try it first. I got Evelyn's already. We'll find out if that is correct. Let's see, but it looks good. I'm still waiting for other people. It's good that Evelyn already tried. Jennifer's also. Make sure that you put them in order, everyone, from the smallest to largest, from left to right. But it's good that you got the right answer, Jennifer. We can double check it one more time. Uriel as well. Fiona, how about other people? You guys have 30 more seconds to try. More people, I want more answers. Montserrat, looks good. Merlot's good. And we did many examples like this last time already, right? All right, it's good that you guys tried. So remember that if you move to the left one standard deviation, that means that you just take the mean. You just take the mean minus the standard deviation, right? So the mean is 35.3 and the standard deviation is 7.67. So the answer is 27.63, right? I just look at your answer, okay? If it's not correct, then other people can tell me, okay? And the number on the right, you just take the mean added to the standard deviation, which is 35.3 added to 7.67. And your answer is 42.97. All right, so the range would be, or you can also say that, so the 68% range is, you can say that it is from 27.63 to 42.97 points, right? So 68% of the people females got 27.63 points to 42.97 points, okay? So that is the 68% range, okay? All right, and make sure that on the exam you know how to do this. Any questions? Let's do one more problem and then we're going to take a break, okay? See, we need a lot of time for this. And because it's important, that's why I'm doing it with you guys. Go ahead and try number 7. And then type the answer in the chat for me. Before doing it, I'm going to have you guys read it out loud for me. Number 7. All right, I'm going to ask some Alones. Can you read number 7 out loud for me? Alones, are you there?
Yes.
All right, can you read number 7 out loud for me?
The standard deviation of the mathematical skills scores for males is calculated to be 8.05 between males and females. Which group shows more variability in mathematical skills scores? Explain.
All right. Thank you. So I'm going to give you a minute to try this one. Go ahead and try it first and type the answer in the chat for me. So make sure that you write down the notation like that so that you can compare them. Got it? Whose standard deviation is larger? Males, right? If you look at the standard deviation for males is 8.05, but for females it's only 7.67. So that means that for males the standard is larger, right? So that it means that the data, the scores of males are more spread out, right? They're more spread out. So that means that males show more variability. Okay, so you should say so males show more variability because their standard deviation is larger than females' standard deviation. That's how you would explain on the exam. Okay. All right. Let's take a break and be back at 6:05. About Brianna, can you read number 8 out loud for me?
Calculate the standard deviation of the mathematical skill score for all possible female students.
All right, thank you. So number 8, we're talking about number 8, everyone. So in this case, you need to calculate the standard deviation of the mathematical skill scores for all possible females, okay? So in this case, they are asking you to find the estimated population variance or standard deviation, okay? So you have to use a formula here. It's similar to the standard deviation of a sample, but instead of n, now you have to have n minus 1, right? N minus 1 on the bottom. So I'm going to let you guys do this problem on your own because it's exactly the same as what problem? Everyone type in the chat for me. If you followed me so far, then this problem is exactly the same as what problem so far. If you look at the problems that we did earlier. Exactly the same as what problem, except for what? For part n minus 1, right? Right, I got Jennifer's. How about other people? Do you know that it's exactly the same as what problem, except for just the bottom part? This problem is exactly the same as number 4, right? If you look at number 4 we did so far, yeah, number 4, you also have to find the standard deviation. Number 4, everyone, yeah, you have to use a formula, but the number 4 is for the sample, okay? For the sample, it's a sample, right? You can see that, the sample. But now for number 8, you have to find the estimated population standard deviation. So you use exactly the same numbers except for the bottom, except for n minus 1. That means that 10 minus 1, which is 9, right? So you just have to use the 9 for the bottom one, okay? And I'm going to let you guys do this on your own. Use exactly the same numbers for females. And then just the bottom, instead of n, which is 10. Now you have 9 for the bottom. Okay. All right. So for the next part, they gave you the same data set, right? So they gave you 10 males, right? The sex number 1 stands for males, and then 10 females. So we still have the same data set here. You can see that number 2 stands for females, right? So there is a total of 20 participants, okay? And they also gave you the age of those people, the ages, and the age is the X variable. And then I should use the same, it's okay. And then mathematical skills scores of those people is the Y variable, okay? And so on. So you can see that on the right side, the X times the Y, which is the age, which is, let's say for the first row, you take 9 times 34, and that's how you got 306, okay? And for the second row, you take 11 times 40, and that's how you got 440. And then for the next column, it's the X squared. That means that you just take the each X value, each age, right? So the first one is you can take 9 squared, which is the age of the first person, and then you squared, and that's how you got 81. Or for the second one, the age 11 of the second person. So you just take 11, squared it, and that's how you got 121, and so on, okay? And you do the same thing with all the rows, okay? And the next one is the Y squared. So for the Y squared, you look at the Y variables or the Y scores, right? The mathematical skill scores. And you can see that the Y squared for the first row is 34. This one right here. So you take 34 squared, and that's how you got 1,156, okay? And if you take the second one, the second Y value, 40, and then you squared, and that's how you got 1,600, and so on. So you do the same thing with the rest of the numbers, okay? And then after that, let me delete this, that will not be confusing. Oh. This is 9 and this is 11, okay? All right, and next, if you look at the bottom of the list here, you can see that this number right here is the sum of all the X values, right? Here are the X, okay? The X values. So at the bottom, it's going to be the sum of the X values. So the notation for it would be, here, let me see first. So that means that the sum, these are the X values. So this is the sum of the X values. So that's the notation for the sum of the X values. And you need to know how to write the notations so that you can plug them into the formula, okay? And the next one is the Y, right? The Y values. And you can see that at the bottom, it's the sum of the Y values. So you should write it as the sum of the Y values is 690, okay? You want to know all the notations for them. And also, the next one is the X times Y. The X times Y here. And if you look at the bottom, it's a sum of all the products of X and Y. And that means that it's going to be the sum of X times Y. You add all the sum of you add all the products of X and Y together, right? So that's how you got 7,418, okay? Next, if you look at the X squared here, and you look at the bottom here, it's a sum of all the X squared, okay? Or all the squares. So that means that if you add them together, you add all the squares together, then this is the sum of the X squared, okay? the sum of the x squared. And then the next one is the y squared. Then at the bottom here, this is the sum of the y squared. So I'm going to write it over here. So it's going to be the sum of the y squared. Okay? So those are the notations that you need to know so that you can plug them into the formula. So let's move on to this problem, number 9. Okay, so you have to do number 9 using that table. All right. I'm going to have someone read it out loud for me. How about Zahid? Can you read it out loud for me? Merlos?
Yes. Which of the following values?
Yeah, keep reading. Is Merlos there?
Yes.
You got disconnected. Right, I'm going to try a different person to see how it works. How about Brittany? Can you read number 9 for me out loud? I will double check it with you later, Merlos, to see how it works.
Which of the following values is the correlation between mathematical skills and age in the total group n equals 20? Show your calculation.
All right. So last time, if you watched the video and you did the lecture guided notes, then the teacher in that video already talked about this formula, right? This formula here is the formula that you need to use to calculate the correlation coefficient. Okay, it's called the correlation coefficient. And it's the notation for it is the R, get the small r. And that's the formula. N times the sum of x times y minus the sum of x times the sum of y over the square root of n times the sum of x squared minus the sum of the x squared. And then that whole thing times the other whole thing, like n times the sum of y squared minus the sum of y, the whole thing squared. All right, I'm going to give you 1 minute to write down the formula. Take 1 minute to write down the formula and then try it first for me. And write down, this is the formula for correlation coefficient, okay? Write down the formula and then plug in the numbers for me to see how you guys do it. Use the numbers in the table and plug them in to see if you guys do it correctly. All right, let's look at it together to see if you guys got it, okay? So the first one is n. The first notation, I have to write it down, then it's going to be a mess. So the first notation is n. What is n? Everyone type in the chat for me. I'm going to go slowly so that you guys can get it. What is n in this case? All right, good so far. N is 20, okay? So I got n. And now next, have you guys type in, what is the sum of x times y? Type in the chat for me. What is the sum of x times y? I'm waiting for your answer. All right, good so far. All right, good. So here is the sum of x times y, right? Which is 7,418. Good. And then now minus, and then I'm going to ask you guys next, what is the sum of x? Type in the chat for me. Minus the sum of x. What is the sum of x? All right, I got Brianna. Other people. What is the sum of x? The sum of x is right here, right? So what is it? All right, Merlos. Is 208, right? The sum of x is 208, okay? And then next, what is the sum of y? What is the sum of y here, everyone? Type in the chat for me. All right, Evelyn, good. How about other people? Oh, the sum of y, everyone, just y. Just tell me only y, the sum of y. Here is the sum of y, everyone. Do step by step so that other people can follow. So the sum of y is what? 690, right? So 690 is the sum of y, okay? Good. And then now divided by, let's move on to the bottom, okay? Make sure that you have the square root for the whole thing. All right. Now, all right, even though I already asked you guys, I still want you guys to follow me. What is n again? Type in the chat for me. All right, good. Right, 20 again, right? 20. Okay, and now let's move on to, tell me what is the sum of x squared, everyone? The sum of x squared, type in the chat. What is the sum of x squared? I got Montserrat, Brianna. Sum of x squared. Brittany. The sum of x squared is right here, everyone. Over here, right? 2,000, right? Merlot's good. 2,258. So 2,258 is the sum of the x squared, okay? Good. Now let's move on to the next one, minus. Make sure that I'm going to use the bracket right here. Minus. Now I'm going to ask you guys, what is the sum of the x and the whole thing squared, everyone? All right, I got Montserrat. All right, other people? The sum of x and then you squared. So that means that first, the sum of x, the whole thing squared, that means that you have to look at the sum of the x here, everyone. The sum of the x, and then you square that sum. Okay, so that means that you have to take 208, that is the sum of the x, and then you have to square the whole thing. Okay, so don't get confused between the sum of the x squared and the sum of the x and the whole thing squared. So those are two different things. So Uriel, Montserrat, when you guys squared it, that's what you got, right? All right, good. And now I'm gonna use another bracket over here. And then we need another bracket like this, right? For the last part. So n is 20, right? N is 20. I don't need to ask you guys again. But now I'm gonna ask you guys, what is the sum of y squared? Everyone type in the chat for me. What is the sum of y squared? I got Jennifer's, Merlot's, other people. What is the sum of the y squared? Kiara, good. All right. So the sum of the y squared is right here, everyone. The sum of the y squared is right here. Okay. Brittany got it too. All right. So it should be 25,054, right? So that is the sum of the y squared. Now minus the last part, okay? Minus. All right, let's move on to the last one. What is the sum of y, the whole thing squared, everyone? Montserrat, is that the last part? Jennifer's got it too. What is the sum of y, the whole thing squared? The last one, the last notation. The last one is the sum of y. The sum of y is this one, right? The sum of y is this one, everyone. And then, which is 690, and then you have the squared, okay? So that is the last part, and then make sure that you use a bracket for me. Yeah, that's how you plug in the numbers, and make sure that you practice again by yourself without looking at the notes, okay? Until you get it right, and without looking at the notes, then you know that you understand it. All right. So now you guys just have to calculate it since we don't have a lot of time. Make sure that you do it by yourself, but I'm going to give you the answer right here and make sure that you do it yourself, okay, so that you can get the right answer and also practice for the exam because we don't have a lot of time. So I'm going to give you the answer. So the answer is 0.70. This is the correlation coefficient, right? We may have to cover them next time as well. All right, I'm going to have someone read it out loud. Let me see. How about Destiny? Can you read number 10 out loud for me?
Draw a scatter plot of age and mathematical skills for the total group, n equals 20. All
right, thank you. So in this case, you guys have to draw the scatter plot by hand. On the exam, you have to do it by hand. Okay, that's what they ask you. And for the exam or for the assignments as well, make sure that you use the graph paper, okay, so that it's easy for us to see and for you to graph as well. All right, so the scatter plot of age and mathematical skills, right? So which one is X, everyone? Which one is the X? So if you look at the table here, age is the X variable, right? And then mathematical skill scores is the Y, okay? So you have to be careful with what you look at. So I already have I copied the numbers to the next page already so that we can graph it. Yeah, so I already have all the numbers here on the next page for you guys. Okay? Here is my graph paper. Yeah, these are the same numbers in that table for the age and the scores. The age is the X and the skills is the Y. Okay. So, and usually the X will be the horizontal, right? The horizontal axis, and the Y will be the vertical axis. Okay. And in this case, you guys have to plot the points. But can you guys tell me how fine? So yeah, if you are given small numbers, then it might be easy, right? But when you look at so many numbers like this, it's hard to organize them if you haven't done math for a long time. So it's reasonable if you already forgot how to do it, right? So I got it. So if you guys are given a data set like this, it looks a lot, but if you organize them, then it's not that hard. So you start with the x-axis, right? Start with the x-axis. You don't know how to organize the numbers, like not sure from what to what, is that right? So you want to look at the largest number so that you know that you want to go from 0 to that number, okay? So what is the largest number in the first column, everyone, of the x variable? Type in the chat for me. Which one is the largest one for the x? All right, Brianna, Ricardo. All right, yeah, so you have to, Jennifer, good. So you have to identify the largest number. So you look at the first one here, this number here, the 15 is the largest one, right? So you want to look at the largest number. So you know that on the x-axis here, on the x-axis, and the x will be the age, right? The x will be the age, okay? Yeah, so you know that you want to go from 0 to 15, okay? And you can, because 15 is not that big, so that means that you can count by ones, right? So you can divide the horizontal axis into 15 equal parts, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, right? And yeah, so you just want to go up to 15, or you can go up more if you want to, okay? All right, so that's how you organize the x variable, okay? Now let's move on to the y. If you move on to the y, you can see that these are very large numbers, is that right? But if you know how to organize them, then it's not a big deal. You also have to look at the largest number as well, so that you know you need to go up to what number, okay, on the vertical axis. So the scores or the skills will be on the vertical axis, right? Which one is the largest number for the Y? All right, Vanessa, Ricardo. About other people? Good. If you see a different larger number, then tell me. So they all got 47. All right, so you guys all got 47 to be the largest one, right? You can check and let me know if you can see a different larger number, okay? All right, so that means that you have to go from 0 to 47. So you cannot divide the vertical axis into 47 equal parts, right? You cannot do that. I mean, you could, but then you will be out of the space, right? So you have to count it by what, everyone, so that it will be good, so that it will fit your paper. You can count by what in this case? Right, yeah, Brianna, that's a good idea. Or other choices. You can count by tens. Brianna got that. You can also count by what? By fives as well, right? And so you still have space right there. Tens is good too. So yeah, fives is good. Is good as well, Evelyn. Make sure that you choose whatever numbers that will fit your paper. Okay, so that you can have all the way up to 47. So I can count by fives on my vertical axis. So 5, 10. If you have more space, you can count by twos, right? Or if you don't have a lot of space, you can count by tens as well. Okay, and then 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, right? So we can go up to 47. 47 is close to 50, okay? And now you just have to plot the points, right? And you can see that we already organized the data really nice already. And I'm gonna just plot a few points for you guys, and then I'm gonna have you guys do the rest, okay? Because I'm sure that you've done this before. So let's start with the first one. The first pair here is 9, 34. So 9 is the X, right? So you look for the 9. This is 9, right? And then 34 is over here. Just estimate it, okay? So if you go up from the 9, and then if you go from the 34 to the right, then here is the point, 9, 34. And make sure that you label them for me, okay, on the exam or on the assignment, okay? And I can just delete this so that it won't look too much. And then the next point is 1140. So you look at the 11 on the x-axis first, 11, okay? And then 40 is right here, right? So if you go all the way to the right, and then from the 11, you go up, and then here is where they need the two values, 40 and 11. So this will be 11, 40, okay? All right, so I think I'm gonna have to stop right here because we don't have enough time. And I'm gonna have you guys do the rest of the pairs, okay? And you guys know how to do this already. All right, so plot all the rest of the points. There should be 20 points for this graph, okay? And next time, I'm gonna check on you guys to see how you do it, okay? Next time, I'm gonna ask you guys to show me your graph over the camera. All right, so we still have many more questions, and I will go over them with you guys next time, math classes, right? So here is the graph. Okay, I already did 0.9, 34, and I already did 11, 40 for you guys. And after that, I plot all the points, and here is what the graph looks like. Okay, and if you graph all the points, your graph should look like this. And I'm going to let you guys do it by yourself so that you can submit it later. Okay, but now just by looking at the graph, and you guys want to answer this question for me, number 11, about number 11. All right, so now you need to describe the scatter plot in terms of its direction and strength. All right, so here I already have the graph. So what is the direction of the graph, everyone? And tell me first in the chat. All right, you can see that the general shape is what is a line that goes up, right? So in this case, the direction is positive, okay? And make sure that you guys do the graph by yourself, because on the exam, they're gonna ask you a question like that for sure. So make sure that you practice. And the strength, is it strong, everyone? What do you guys think? Is it strong or not, or weak, or? I would say that is strong, huh? What do you guys think? I think the strength is strong enough. It's not like perfectly strong, but it's strong, okay?